Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, they provide the offices for HM Revenue and Customs up and down the country, but they haven't paid any corporation tax for 14 years. This programme has discovered that this was despite the fact that the company received £2.7 billion from the taxman in payments over that period. Well, really, from the taxpayer. In a statement, Mapeley told us that all required taxes have been paid. Well, as Google and the Inland Revenue and Customs prepare for tough questions over their controversial tax settlement from MPs tomorrow, Kieran Jenkins has this exclusive report.
In their wrangling over corporation tax, big business has HMRC in a spin. Google's tax deal sparked outcry. Facebook could be next. Some wonder if our beleaguered tax collectors are being repeatedly outfoxed. There is, though, one business you'd expect HMRC to know all about. Why? Because it's the company that HMRC rents most of its buildings from. So right across the country, HMRC's finest are beavering away in offices leased and managed by this very business. So wouldn't it be awkward if that company paid no corporation tax? Mapeley Steps Contractor Limited is one of the bigger companies you've probably never heard of. It's been letting buildings to HMRC since buying most of its estate in 2001. The deal is so valuable that annually it's one of the biggest earners from government contracts. HMRC pays it tens of millions of pounds in rent and fees each year.
I've got the accounts for Mapeley Steps, which is the company that contracted with HMRC.
So just how much corporation tax does it pay? Well, we asked a forensic accountant.
It's very simple to look. The revenue here, 144 million, tax charge nothing. This is 2014. 2013, 150 million pounds turnover, tax charge nothing. Those 2 years the company made a loss. 2012, corporation tax nil.
Is there a corporation tax payment in any of these years?
No, I've been all the way back to 2001, and 1 year there's been a corporation tax payment.
In all, HMRC has paid this company £2.7 billion, and yet it almost always makes a loss. And of course, you don't pay taxes on a loss. By your analysis, have they done anything wrong whatsoever?
If by wrong you mean illegal, I can't say they're doing anything illegal. I think they've planned their affairs in such a way to keep their tax liability to an absolute minimum.
And it just so happens that the majority of their revenue comes from the taxman himself.
Correct.
And where does that money go? Well, some of it comes to a related company based here, Tax Haven Bermuda, a curious sort of place for HMRC's rent money to end up. At the very least, what this tells us is just what the HMRC is up against. If they're not taking in corporation tax from a company that's right under their noses, then what chance are the likes of Google and Facebook and Starbucks? Do you think they should be paying tax?
Look, my logic is quite simply that no commercial company that I know operates in the long term without making money. By definition, if you don't make money, eventually you go bust, you give up the contract, you walk away, and yet Mapeley is clearly still providing a service many years after it started running HMRC's properties and yet appears not to be paying tax. That simply feels inherently economically wrong.
HMRC wouldn't say if they'd investigated Mapeley Group. What they would say was, we treat all taxpayers equally. Mapeley Group said all parts of its business were required to pay tax on profits from UK activities, and that all such taxes have been paid. Now, Mapeley's not nearly as complex a structure as Google, but both are made up of a network of international companies, and like many, stand accused of arranging their affairs to reduce tax.
Most directors of companies, their responsibility is to their shareholders to maximise their return on investment, and that means minimising their costs. And in most cases, tax is just a cost.
If a company organises itself to pay no corporation tax? Are they just being greedy?
Is it greedy, or is it working for the best interests of their shareholders, which ultimately is the primary responsibility for the directors of these companies?
HMRC's responsibility is simply to collect the tax that's owed, a job that's so much harder when companies pay little or nothing at all.
Kieran Jenkins reporting.